everybody. It is day 16. Good lord, these all running together. Good lord, this is so many kaiju films. But yeah, day 16 of 31 and 31. And today it is Terror of Mechagodzilla, and it is the end of an era. This is the last film in the 70s, and this is the last Godzilla film for quite some time. After this, it's going to get weird, get a little dark, not be as funny, even though a little bit, but definitely a little more serious, and not as playful as some of the other films have been. So, without further ado, I guess let's talk about Terror of Mechagodzilla. This is an odd entry into the series. I don't know what to really think about it. So, let's go ahead and do our little story thing like we normally do and start from the beginning. So, this one, the story for this one is basically, again, space aliens. That's all the 70s have been. It's fucking space aliens. We went from newspaper people to reporters to fucking space aliens all the goddamn time. Everybody's a goddamn space alien trying to. Well, there's people trying to find. And it's a direct continuation of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, like directly. So, and I can't tell if it's the same people. It's not the planet N. It's not the space monkeys. It's somebody from the black hole planet. So basically, there are people that are looking for the wreckage of Mechagodzilla. They're unable to find it, and they're attacked by a dinosaur or a giant kaiju called Titanosaurus. And that kaiju blows up their ship. It's actually kind of a cool scene. I mean, as far as kaiju movies go, where you see him underwater, and then he just kind of grabs it and blows up the damn ship. And so you find out that they're basically want to kind of find out what's going on. This Ocean Research Department, Interpol's also always fucking involved in these films now. So here they are trying to figure out where, one, the wreckage of Mechagodzilla, and two, what exactly destroyed the ship underground, or underwater, I should say. At the same time, you have the space alien people that have actually gotten all the parts and are rebuilding Mechagodzilla to attack Tokyo once again. From here, we also meet a professor and his daughter, and she is a cyborg now that was rescued by the alien people. See, there was an accident that happened, and she got shocked to death, and then the alien people brought her back to life. So, you have aliens, you have cyborgs, and you have Godzilla. What more do you need? And they actually have learned, the professor, he has learned how to control the Titanosaurus. Right? He has figured out what he needs to do it. And that was his life work, and he's been shamed, and he wants to get revenge because people didn't believe that Titanosaurus existed, and now he's going to use Titanosaurus to fucking destroy people. Like, okay, what? And then there actually is a really funny, like, when you actually get the death scene of his daughter, it is hilarious. When she fucking goes up to the console, and then all the crazy stuff goes in the background, and she gets, like, shocked to death. It is so stupid. It is terrible. She is a, when you watch foreign films, maybe you don't, you know when a movie is kind of cheesy, right? When you watch a foreign film. But to me, sometimes you watch them, when you're watching somebody do something in English, you're like, at least for, me, for example, I know when an actor or an actress is terrible, right? I don't always know when a foreign actress is terrible, especially in the 70s, because sometimes even some of the US 70s actors or UK 70s actors or whomever there are out there, they can be considered good actors, but they still delivered things really stiff and wooden and stuff like that. But here, it's like she's terrible. The one that plays his daughter is just terrible. Awful acting. She can't show fucking emotion. She's acting like a little Japanese kid or something like that. Can't show fucking emotion. So, basically, it comes down to a couple of things. They use Titanosaurus. I keep wanting to say titanium for some fucking reason. But Titanosaurus to attack Tokyo, or what looks like Tokyo, or the random fucking buildings. Like, that's where this film kind of skimps, is on the monster design. Because I don't really like Titanosaurus. I mean, it's back to being more earthly. We had really cool designs with Gigan, with Megalon, with Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla's back. But there's no other monsters. So, basically, they send out Titanosaurus being controlled by the girl, and they install the controls into the daughter. So that she has a human brain, or at least a brain type of product that can help control Mechagodzilla, and that's what they were missing to beat Godzilla. There's an early scene where we see Titanosaurus and Godzilla fight because the professor thinks that he can get revenge without having to deal with Mechagodzilla at all. Like, he thinks that he can just beat the shit out of Mechagodzilla, and that's the end of it. So he sends it out. Godzilla and Titanius fight. And it's kind of short-lived because the daughter, she's found to be the one sabotaging something that can actually stop Titanosaurus. And she's kind of killed, and that's where they bring her back. So the first fight's not very exciting. Not really. I mean, it's okay. It is what it is. You can see them fight. Okay, who cares? But then after, you know, they drive him away and Godzilla just suddenly disappears. And then I don't even know how Godzilla even fucking comes out in this film. Like, he's just there. Like, he just shows up to fight and that's it. Like, at least in the other films, you could see him being called or something's going on, especially in Mechagodzilla. Godzilla comes out because, hey, that's not me. That's fucking fake or whatever. But here he just kind of shows up to save the day. It's not that great. So ultimately, everything comes down that they get Titanosaurus and they get Mechagodzilla to team up and start destroying Tokyo. And then Godzilla comes and joins in the fray. And then there's the long fight between everybody. There's a really funny scene with Titanosaurus beating up Godzilla, and he like grabs on him with his mouth and then is just fucking kicking him up high in the air. And it's really ridiculous. It's really funny. And the kaiju battle is okay, like, in this film. It's not my favorite. It's not terrible. It has some that slow down in some points, but in general, it seems to speed up. And then the one thing that I felt went absolutely nowhere just because of the way the film ends is that they do rip off, like, Godzilla spends his time, once again, ripping off the head of Mechagodzilla. Because they figured out that hypersonic waves will damage Titanosaurus and will make him vulnerable, basically kind of sever the connection between the professor and be able to control him and stuff like that. But, you know, last time Godzilla ripped off the head of Mechagodzilla, and you get a really cool shot of one of the guys killing one of the space aliens at the same time, kind of choking him to death, and then Godzilla ripping off the head. And I like that. I thought that was really cool. But you have him rip off the head, and then it shows this like little control thing underneath it that allows Mechagodzilla to keep fighting. I was thinking, great, this is wonderful. You know, now we're going to have an extra long battle and whatever. But no, there's a whole stupid scene with a girl, and she, you know, and one of the things in the translation that I had, it's really interesting because she says, like, he backs her into a corner and she's holding a gun. You're like, you're not going to shoot me, you know, and the guy for some odd reason has fallen in love with her because I don't know fucking why. It's a fucking human story in this movie. And then she's like, oh, but I'm you know, she says in Japanese, I'm not a human. Okay, ninjin janai. I can never say it right. My Japanese is terrible. But basically, that's what it would translate to. But in the translation on the bottom of the subtitles, it says, you don't know who I really am. So it's, I guess, you know, that maybe the translation worked a little better. I don't know. I kind of like the fact that she basically tells him I'm a cyborg straight to his face. So ultimately, she kills herself, and that's what stops Mechagodzilla and allows Godzilla to win the day. So what do I give this? Well, you know, I have to give this one, I would say I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 Godzilla roars for this one. Because while it's still entertaining, I don't like the human story very much. I think it's very rushed. And I think that some parts of it, and I think there's a reason why there's a almost 10-year break in between this Godzilla film and the next one we're going to watch for Day 17. So without further ado, I wish you guys luck. Go check out the new episode of Terrible Terror, of course, out on Spawn, on all your podcasting platforms. And we'll see you tomorrow with Day 17, jumping into 1984 in Japan, but 1985 in the U.S.